back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we're back, and it is Christmas season. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Ours was good.
Ours was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
My son brought his girlfriend, and we were reminiscing
We're telling baby stories
with her for her.
She's
Well,
so
not
sweet.
even just baby stories, just stuff,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like the bull and
Yeah.
you know and all that. And so because of these stories that we were telling, they were funny.
Yeah.
So it was really
It was a nice night.
a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. So we hope you also had a good Thanksgiving, and we're switched over for Christmas mode.
Except all my Christmas stuff is like stored, so
Yeah.
this is stuff I had to
Little by little.
This is stuff I bought this year
Yeah, I don't even
at the Target thing. These little cute little the spot area.
Dollar
Those
Spot.
cute
Those
little.
are very cute.
Well, that's
Those
not a
little
dollar.
trees.
Not the Santa. We'll talk about the Santa.
Yeah, not the.
But,
yeah, you know those cute little trees. I was like, those are adorable.
So I'm gonna say now, I know our videos are long, and I'm not apologizing for that. But we talked about this at the end of our video last week. We want to talk about it on the front end. After we tell our basic what we're working on right now, we're going to talk about our 100th episode, which is coming up on Christmas morning. I was wrong last week. I said 4 more weeks. It was 5 more weeks. Now it's 4 more weeks. And I did make that little correction. I don't know if you saw.
Oh.
I was like, it's actually 5. So we're going to be talking about that. We are having a big giveaway for our 100th episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about it and hint about some things, but keep in mind that, and stay tuned. Okay, so you can find out exactly everything about it. So I think Eve's going first.
Yeah. First off, this is a pattern from when we started our YouTube channel,
Yeah.
almost 100 episodes ago.
And basically a year ago.
Yeah. And so this is called 10 Minutes to Midnight. It is on our Etsy shop. It is a conglomeration of ideas from us. I had an idea that I wanted to do something with Santa splitting the seam on his pants. Because those of us who are a little on the heavy side are familiar with things happening, wardrobe malfunctions. And so he's sitting here waiting.
He's standing there in his underwear.
Yeah, he's standing there waiting for Mrs. Claus to fix the hole in his pants so he can get going. And it's already, in my mind, he was sitting there with his foot tapping.
Yeah.
Come on.
And you can see the clock up there on the wall.
And that was my idea. Saying, it's 10 minutes till midnight, and because
yes.
how many of us have been repairing something 10 minutes before you have to leave?
or there you are on Christmas trying to, especially if you make stuff, I remember I made the kids robes, and I was sewing those almost until time to open presents.
Like
so,
yours, mine, and ours when the the death
and the bag
closet.
falls apart. Yeah, it's mine, all right.
So that's available on our Etsy shop.
PDF for the pattern.
And it's called 10 Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the nativity berry. No, actually, first I did finish FFOing my berries.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very happy with the way they came out. I put it on Instagram and Facebook. But I was really happy. I was concerned when I was making them, especially like this little pumpkin up here. Does that look right? And then I thought, you know what? They're mine.
There he is. They're so cute.
So, okay. And then now I'm going to talk about Nativity Berry. Erica Michaels. Those berries are Erica Michael pattern. Autumn berries. I really like this pattern. And I've been working on it. And you're going to see a picture here of this so that you can see what I'm talking about. These are the 2 threads suggested for the faces. One is a lighter color and one is a darker color, so that you can make them have a light complexion or a darker complexion. And I wanted to use the darker one because realistically they would have had darker skin. Yeah, it doesn't work because on the Joseph and Mary, it's fine. It's fine. I would leave it like that, but I don't want them to have 2 different face colors. And on the baby, on Jesus here, he doesn't have a face.
It's too close.
The color is too close. It all looks like the same color.
Looks like a little blob baby.
Yeah, and then I'm like, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take out that color and put in this lighter one, which is what's on the picture. I'll put in this lighter one and...
May I see the picture?
Make their faces the lighter one. And I had been thinking about it, and I was like, well, the lighter one, the face, the eyes and everything would show it better. And I said, no, go ahead and use the darker one. It just doesn't work.
That's interesting.
There's various
but the halo is such a dark.
Yeah.
It's a dark gold that it would.
Well,
blend.
this thread.
Is it variegated or?
Yeah.
Or dimmed? No, it's dimmed.
I did use a substitute for the darker brown color, but I don't think that that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because I looked at the DMC and it was like the same. Mm-hmm. So, because this looks lighter, but this thread right here would be the same one here. And I know you can't see what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. But you're using whiskey, and her whiskey flour is a lot lighter than my whiskey flour.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is the I haven't done their faces yet, but
your color difference isn't much more than mine.
Yeah. But also that I think, Eve's looks darker, but that facial color that she's talking about that
would be the same color
would be
too.
the same. It would blend too much.
So
look how
so
close it is.
I'm going to spend today while we're doing this taking that color out, because I could leave it and just work with it and go with it and maybe outline his little head, and I'd rather just take that color out and put in a lighter color. I think it was designed with the lighter color, and this was just given as an option,
And as you say, it is yours.
Yeah, I was going to say, and there's also online somewhere, I think I've heard people talk about like a list of facial colors. To choose from.
I have them, but I'm happy with this color for face. I was happy with both of them for a face color, but not gonna work. So I'm gonna be tugging at this shirt a lot, and right now I'm really not. But it's the Christmas season. I wanted to pretend it was cold enough to wear this. So and you know how we were complaining about it being cold? It's not cold anymore.
It's comfortably warm outside.
I'm freezing. I've been freezing.
I'm doing the Arizona thing. I have sweatpants on and a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm always cold.
So my WIP-GO, my second WIP-GO challenge is cute boots. This cute little duck. It's designed by Joe Gattenby for X's and O's. And I am working on his hat.
You finished the face?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He is so cute. And
I
one of his
last
little.
week you're like,
this
I
is
want to
his,
start the hat.
This is his little hand. One of his little hands right here.
So adorable.
And it's cute enough like this, but once I put in the back stitching, it's gonna really pop out. Yeah, so
I love his
he's
little
so cute.
cheeks.
And the hat is coming along very fast. I only have a little bit on the brim, and then I have the top of the hat to do. So before this month is out, I think I will have that hat done, and maybe be starting on a ducky body.
Cute.
But I'm really happy. I like the way it looks. So I've been plugging away at the snowflake ornaments. I took out that gold thread and I split it and put it back in.
Made it smaller. Made it.
Well,
strands.
I don't know if you're supposed to do it all in the, it was like 3 strands and I just took it apart and
It's better.
I like it better.
Oh, okay.
And then I started working on the deer down here, and I realized as we were about to start the video that one of my X's, the crossover didn't go to the right hole.
I don't know.
But I like the way it looks on this fabric. I'm really happy with it.
It's very pretty.
I have put it on next year's WIP-GO because I know that even though I'm going to continue to plug away at it, that it's not going to get done. But, Christmas comes every year. And this doesn't say Christmas ornaments, it says snowflake ornaments. And it's winter into January. As I know because I love snowmen and... And then I have been working, this is my own design. It's called The Greatest Story. And I have left to do, this purple one here is the angels. And there's a green one over here that is the angel talking to Mary. And this is already available on our Etsy shop. You can do them as individual ornaments or, in one thing like I'm doing here. And so I had originally designed it stacked because I was thinking I would stitch it as individual ornaments. But then I thought, you know what, I'd really like to have them in a row with the story. And I'm really happy with the way they look. I'm very unhappy that I have not finished this yet, that I just let it go. Mm-hmm. And I tend to do that with my own designs. So, it's like I design it and then I forget about it and stitching it,
Right.
It's not because I don't like my designs. I like this. It's just shiny things.
Yeah, shiny. I was going to say, and it's your design, and so you spent your energy designing, and then the actual stitching of it is probably different for you.
And I started that in 2020. I designed that in 2020. We gave it away as part of Advent. Mm-hmm. And there were...
And in the interim, Mama passed away.
Yeah.
So
there were 3 designs that we showed, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, and maybe that's why I put it away.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
And then, because I don't have enough projects going right now, I did a Thanksgiving start of winter reindeer. This is Dirty Annie's winter reindeer, and it is incredibly cute. I showed my son this one, and OMG, they got me a tree.
Yeah. With the kitty?
With the kitty. Oh, do give me that. I want to talk about it in that.
Oh.
Sorry, this is another design that's on our Etsy shop.
I'm not going to pause. I'm just going to get up.
Yeah. So...
Bang, bang, bang. Sorry.
That's one where the
Do the lights
banging's
work?
happening off
I
camera.
didn't even check if the...
Oh. Okay,
so... This is design is called Christmas at the Burgess, and it is in the Etsy shop, and I provided an alphabet so that you could personalize it a little bit if you wanted to. But the reason I'm bringing it up, why I liked OMG, They Got Me a Tree. In this is a poem that I wrote that is to the cadence of The Night Before Christmas. I wrote this when Robert was very young. While I was working
over here, so your face is not hidden by it.
While I was working for LVB Design, because our cats would climb the tree and they would take it down, and this thing has, they would knock it down. This has the dog running through the presents and Robert chasing the dog and thinking it's funny.
And the cat in the tree. And
right.
The presents going
and I
everywhere.
wrote this little poem to put on. I drew this and then wrote this poem to make a Christmas card.
Yeah.
And then when I started designing cross stitch, I thought, you know what, I'll just make that too, because it was funny. I mean, I think the poem is funny, but the incidents were always hilarious. We could not keep the cats out of the tree. They would always knock it down. So we had to wire the trees to the window so that the cats could climb it without knocking it down. And they would continue to climb it. The poem, let me see, I don't remember it. 'Twas 2 weeks before Christmas, and all through the house chaos was reigning as the cat chased a toy mouse. The stockings were hung by the window. We didn't have a chimney. By the window with care, and the dog barked with glee as she ran through them there. With a cat at the top being chased by my boy, the Christmas tree fell and he giggled with joy. Yes, my son liked chaos. My son giggled and laughed as I stared at the room, and I sighed and muttered as I went for a broom. But I heard him exclaim as I went out of sight, Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night. Because that kind of chaos you just have to laugh about. And cats climbing a tree, that just, yeah. So when I saw that design, OMG, They Got Me a Tree. So I showed him that one. And this one. And he chose this one. And I'm kind of glad he did, because even though I want to do the other one too, I just really want to work on this. And I got the Felice Naughty Dog. I want to FFO it before Christmas. So anyway, I know you can't see anything here.
It's a very beautiful blue.
This is it's a fabric flare fabric called Blue, and it is the same thing that I'm using for the Nativity Berry, and I also am using it for something. Oh, the Winter Berry that I'm going to do. I'm going to use it for that. But I thought it was perfect for this. And when you look at the picture, you might be able to see the snowflakes. You can see them.
Yeah. I can see them.
It's pretty.
Yeah, that you can, and they're subtle, just like in the picture on the pattern. You know, they're subtle. I don't know if you can see from here, but there's snowflakes, and I think that it works as that. So anyway, I don't know that I'm going to do all the snowflakes and then the deer, because the deer are so darn cute. But I started that. I don't know if I'm going to work on it anymore between now and Christmas, but that was my Thanksgiving start.
So that blue fabric that you have, did you buy it? You bought it. You didn't dye it.
I bought it at the attic.
And how big does it come? Does it come as big as you want, because you can buy it there?
I don't know if they have it where you can. I think it's cut down by the attic, and it was in a little package. 16 count Ada.
And it's printed on one side.
Yeah. So
It's white on the other?
Yeah.
Because I like that, because I have that Christmas pattern I bought at the attic 10 years ago. And you gave me a piece of fabric and we were going to dye it, but I never did. But I was thinking, that would look good on that too. It's kind of like what it's the sample is stitched on. It's that one with Santa and all the reindeer all around or something. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's in my box. But
I like.
But I really like that fabric.
I like the shade of blue it is. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that it's light, but it's got a color to it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that expensive. And I still have, I cut this piece off, and this was like half of what was left after I cut this off and the other berry. So I had this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so it was a decent size.
I can't remember how big it needs. I can't remember anything about it. I have it enough. It
might have been a fat eighth of fabric. I don't know. But, yeah, it's there at the attic.
Stop talking about me.
What?
I said, stop talking about me.
I don't know if they have any right now. I didn't see any the last time I went. But they order stuff for you.
Yeah.
So, that is me.
That's you? Are you going next, Beth?
Yeah, I'll go next, because, yeah. Put this octopus up here a little bit. Okay. I actually was able to move this, so I'm not going to take it out after all. So, I've been working on a few different things. I have lots of progress and little progress and no progress. So.
We just have something in front of your face. I'm going to move this while you're talking about your things.
Okay.
A little offsetting.
So for my WIP-GO stuff, I think last week I had finished the 10 days. What was my goal on the balcony, the one with my cats. Yeah, because I had finished like the one corner. Of the cats and everything, of it, of the balcony. And so I started last Saturday, I think, on this Daily Walk in the Woods by Carol Manning Designs. That was a SAL, I think in 2017 or something. And I had worked on it, at first. And this is the one I got the orientation of the fabric wrong. And back in those days, I didn't really use a cross-stitch calculator. And so, and like I said, I got this fabric turned the wrong way. So I'm hoping that I can, fit everything in here. But I made pretty good progress. One thing about this design is that it's very easy to finish these little trees, and it looks like you've accomplished a lot. So last time I was in the process of working on this tree here, and I had it mostly done. And I think while we filmed, I was able to basically finish this tree. And then I did this little bitty thing here and this big tree here. And last night I did these little mushrooms at the base of the tree, and I did this big tree here. So now I'm working on this one, and if I can finish this tree, that'll be, this is the edge of the fabric, of the design. So I started in the middle, and right now I'm working on trying to, my goal is for 10 days, and I think I'm about on the 7th day or so. So I'm trying to do as much as I can on this edge of the design, so that I can finish all the way to the edge on here. So there's a big tree here, and then a couple of little trees here next to this one, and then this is the edge of the design on this side, this big tree here. So there's it goes further down, but this is the edge right here. So I've been working on this primarily, but I've also I'm getting ready for December Rabbit. So I'm going to do it on this. This is 32 count Murano Carré. This is 18 count, I think. Ada. And it's a little on the stiff side and a little on the wrinkled side, and I'll get to that when we talk about stories. Like I started to say, this is 32 count Murano Crochet in gray. It's a gingham style fabric. So this is the December Rabbit, which is the last of the series. I think I finished. Well, January I finished last year, and I finished, I think, March and April or something, or February and March or something like that. I finished, I think, 2 of them earlier this spring. And all the others, I have, like, in various stages of completion. So they're probably all going on my WIP-GO board for next year. And then I worked a little bit more on the Nativity Berry. I'm doing a smaller berry. And this is on...
I love that fabric. It's so dark.
This is on Steel Blue 25 count Lugana from Hobby Lobby. And this is 1/1. So it takes a lot of brain power and energy to work on this. So it's like I am making really slow progress. But I did start on the stable. And I've come a long ways over here, and I'm almost to the little eaves and then down the side, so I'm hoping to do that. And I have not done the faces or Joseph's robe or anything like that.
You let Eve do that experiment.
When you said the little Eves, I thought there's little me. No, kidding wise.
She's very little.
Kidding wise, I thought that. But then it reminded me when I was in junior high. Dad came to pick me up for an appointment or something, and so they sent the slip to my classroom, to ask for Eve, EAVE. Somebody wrote EAVE.
I thought you were going to say they put princess on there.
No.
Dad used to call
you that.
No.
She was princess. I was chicken.
And I was just
Naomi.
No,
you were.
My father called me Naomi.
Oh.
I didn't know. Anyway, that's later.
Anyway, so I'm coming along on this little berry, and then I also had a Thanksgiving star, although mine's not very exciting at all. So this is the design I made for my brother-in-law. It's a saying that he likes. And so the saying is in there, but it has this border around it. So it's a very boring start. I
couldn't even tell.
I did a little bit of
I thought this was a needle.
I did a little bit
you
of
did
the
a line.
Of the and I did about like maybe 30 stitches of. It's about 100 stitches wide. So yeah, I just worked on it a little bit, and the reason why I
What's that orange?
This is my corner marker.
Oh, I see.
It looks like ASU colors if we put them together. But yeah, I have to take that out. But yeah. So I just did one boring line on there, but
Hey, you gotta start.
It's a Thanksgiving start, Yeah, I had to do it anyway, so and because the actual design, if I could have started in the middle, but I'm using it actually as kind of a scrap because I don't expect it to take the whole thing, the whole piece. So I didn't want to, and it's kind of like because I used it for something else. Mm-hmm. So one corner of the fabric is cut out. Mm-hmm. So.
Are you done? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. So my big news. Now you see me still. Okay, now I'm going to move the Santa back in front of you.
Okay.
You see me still using this yarn. Like, aren't you sick of seeing me with this yarn? I am a little bit too. Okay, I have big news. Big news. You're going to help me, Beth. Because last week I realized it was off camera. I finished. So here's the collar. This is where I said you hold the front stitches on a needle until you do all the decreases here. I don't know if you can see that decrease line where the stitching turns the corner there. So you do it until all these stitches are disappeared, and then you hold this. I mean, when there's 20 left here, remember I said you put this front neck on a hold, and then you do it all the way up here. And then once you get to the tippy top and the sleeves disappear, this decrease happened, and they completely disappeared. And I was very scared that the math was going to work out, but it worked out. Then you put a circular needle, you pick up all these stitches, you pick up the ones you held, you pick up the sides here, and then you also knit across the back that you already were knitting on, and you do the ribbing. And it just so happens, in the way the color worked out, the collar is all one color. Isn't that funny?
Yay.
So it's done, and you see that the back of the neck is higher. And here's the sleeve. It's nice. Oh, and I have to show remember there was giant gaping holes in the underarm. There's my beautiful grafting job. From there you can't see, but it's beautiful. There's no gaps. There's no underarm holes at all.
So pretty.
It's completely the grafting. I was really proud of the grafting. It came out well. Although I discovered that, so I was supposed to hold 18 stitches of the body and 18 of the arm, and that way you have matching. And then I think when I made Dad's sweater, I missed a line in the instructions. It's like pick up an extra stitch that's like from the knitting, so you kind of join it all together. And I don't remember doing that. But anyway, so I did that, but I discovered on one arm or the other I had 19 body stitches and 18 sleeve stitches. So I had to pick up 2 stitches that of the already knit stuff to make it even, because you have to have the same number when you're grafting. And what grafting is you are joining, you're basically doing this with the thread and making what looks like another line of knitting. It's really kind of a cool thing. And so the sleeves are very blousy, which is what Hannah wanted. So you see they're very thick, poofy sleeves, so that
You could stick a handkerchief in it.
yeah, that, or you can wear something under it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show a picture here of it on the Hannekin. It's in my garage because Hannekin had to move out for my aunt to stay for Thanksgiving. So it's in the garage. But anyway, so there's a picture of it from the front, and then I took a picture of the back just so you could see the back neck. And then I took a picture of the shoulder so that you can see the grafting line, because I'm really proud of that. There are fudges and mess-ups in here, because I would come along, and remember I told you last week that I would check my counts, and every once in a while I had missed one somewhere, and but I think overall, as you're looking at the graft line, it looks really good. And I mean, not the graft line, the raglan decreases, which occur right here. So this is all finished, and I also wove in all the ends. It was funny. So I had 3 of these big balls of yarn, and I used one up in the body, and you're supposed to just leave it. And when I finished got to the underarms, I had like a good little ball like this left. And then I took the second ball and started the sleeves, because it wants you to leave that. It doesn't want you to use the yarn you have attached to the body for the sleeves. So I had another ball, and I did both sleeves with that ball of yarn. And then when I joined it, I used what was remaining on the body and used it till it ran out. And then I used so then I took what I had remaining from the sleeve knitting and used it. I think, I'm trying to remember now, but I ran out of yarn like right here. So I had to join this big ball and finish it. But I still, no. I don't remember. Yeah, no, I think I started this when I finished. I had to use a little bit of it. But I have all this yarn, and I had already planned, I think I talked about this, of doing what's called a turtle to go, which is also in that sweater workshop book. What you do is you make a crew neck sweater, and then you take the stitches, the stitch number that was here, and you add on some because you want it to be a little bit bigger, and you make basically a turtleneck. So it's 9 inches of knitting, and you obviously it folds on back on itself so that you can, and it's the same yarn. So you wear this sweater, and it's like a cowl, but it's like a tight one, and you put it on so it looks like a turtleneck. And then when you get wherever you want, or like Hannah said, when you have to play the violin, you can just take it off. So I'm using the extra yarn to do that, and I started that last night. And when I started it, I was unhappy. I'm like, this cast on is too loose, and I mean, you want a loose cast on because you don't want it to be, you want to fit it over your head. But I just thought it looked messy last night when I was doing this. But now there's a couple spots where it's a little loose. But now I'm like, hey, this looks pretty nice. So this is the start of it. I know it looks too small because it's on a small needle. It won't be this small. Because see, it actually is. It's actually like this big. So you work with the what we call the body size needle. So that's the needle I use to make all of these stitches. And then for 3 inches, you do this ribbing. And then you take the ribbing needle, which is 2 sizes smaller. So this is a size 5. Then I switched to a size 3, which is what I used on the bottom ribbing and the cuffs. You use a smaller needle for ribbing. So in this design, you do 3 inches of the body size needle, and then 3 inches of the ribbing size needle, and then 3 inches of the body size needle. So it's going to be, in the photos they look straight, but it's going to pull in a little because that ribbing size needle is going to make smaller stitches, and then it's going to, so it'll be a little bit hourglass, so that I assume it's that way so that when you fold it over, it naturally will fold and sit correctly. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with that.
I was going to say that, when you're talking about playing the violin, I was watching a TV show. It was takes place around just after Jack the Ripper, basically, and they find the body of a woman, and the medical guy says, well, she was a violinist, because you could tell because she has
the violin hit in her.
Yeah.
So really, that's all I've done this week was work on that sweater, because I was like, I'm almost done. Yesterday.
She did that and made delicious turkey.
Yeah, so I was almost done with it on Thanksgiving morning. And I turned to Mark at one point, and I'm like, I am probably, because I was working on the collar already. And it was, so I know that in this knit, with this needle, about 8 rounds makes an inch. And there's really only supposed to be an inch of the collar. And I was probably 2 or 3 rounds from finishing that collar when I finally, had to go to bed or whatever, last time I was knitting. So Thanksgiving morning, I woke up and I wanted to knit, but I kind of knew that if I sat down to knit, I would never get up. And so I was working on everything, and my aunt was coming, so I was trying to get the house ready. And I told Mark, I'm like, I cannot tell you how much I am fighting with myself to not sit down and finish that sweater, because I'm this close, and this whole Thanksgiving is getting in the way. I said, I'm doing everything and thinking about that sweater every single minute. That's how I get kind of obsessive, because I'm like, I'm almost done. And you know me, I never finish anything. So this was very exciting to me to finish that sweater.
Actually, you finish a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I also have so many unfinished projects. I was actually thinking maybe I'll do WIP-GO next year. With my
well, you can make your goals whatever you want.
Yeah, just look at it. I could do that.
You can
look in the bag.
You can make one goal.
My goal is to look in the bag and say, "Oh, there's my needle."
You could make one goal. Look at my gnome fabric.
Oh my gosh! I know. I was looking at that because I cleaned Hannah's room for Mary Lou's arrival, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at that cute fabric. I really want to make this for myself, but like you said, I have to sit down. So then I'm debating, because Hannah comes on the 22nd, so I'm like, do I want to make this room a mess again and take out all my stuff and all my toys? Or do I just want to not, you know? Because if I start that quilt, it's going to make this room a giant mess. But anyway. Okay, so actually the other thing I did is something I have to talk about for the giveaway. So let's talk about the giveaway.
Okay.
Because I'm done. This is all I've done. Okay, so we started this channel 2 years ago in 2020, and we are now coming up to our 100th episode. Our 100th episode of Sticks and Strings. Now, technically, there are a couple of other demonstration videos out there that we made. So we're not counting those. We're just counting our
Formal
Sticks and Strings episodes. And we're like, hey, it's going to wind up on Christmas Day. Christmas Day. So anyway, so we're going to have a giveaway. And I will start talking about mine. And then we're going to tell you how to enter. So we're going to take entries from now until the week before Christmas. Correct?
Right.
So 4 weeks. Today, 3 more episodes. And then on Christmas Day, we will announce the winners.
Yes.
So we hope you tune in on Christmas morning. The dog barked and I forgot what I was saying. Okay. So we're going to have a giveaway. We're going to announce it on Christmas morning. That's what I was saying. What we're giving away 3 things, 3 prizes. You can enter for all 3, but you can only win 1. So, I will talk about what I am contributing first. You see this little Santa man? So this will be one part. So
it goes over something.
Yeah, it goes over. You can put a paper cone in it. This is not blocked yet. I need to wash it and block it. But this is, I'm going to show you the photo. This is, I should have marked it before we started filming. Sorry. Remember this magazine I bought? This fun Christmas magazine? I talked about these. Oh, here they are.
Yeah.
These Santas. So this is the one I made. That's this guy right here. Isn't he cute? And so I'm going to block him so he stands up better. But you put him over a paper cone. So I will send them like this, and then I'll give you instructions on how to make the cone. The dog is banging the iPad, FYI. So if it shakes, that's why. So I'm gonna block this so so all the stitches are real defined. But I can't promise you I'm gonna make all 3. But for sure I'm gonna make this guy. I mean, I already made this guy, and I'm gonna make the stripy guy, and I hope to make this one with the color work. But I think I can do it, but this is the one I'm a little bit wary of. But for sure, you're going to get 2 Santas at the very least, and possibly 3 a bonus one. So what's neat about this guy is they don't have faces, and I'll show you a close up. But he's got a flat piece of stockinette for a face. But then it's got twisted ribs stitches all around that makes his hair. It's so cute. And it's got a little ribbing down the front for his robe. And then his little hat. So once I block it, these stitches will become very defined. But he did fit over this. I was like, I wonder if he fits on this tree. And he does. So cute.
I was like, I have this beautiful little tree thing here.
Yeah, so that's the tree. It is beautiful, but I was like, hey. So he will be part of my giveaway, and another or 2 Santas. Stay tuned to find out if I can accomplish that 3rd one. I mean, I know I can do it. It's just hard. So this is the yarn I bought for that. And then I'm going to be creating, I have this here, some ornaments from this beautiful fabric. It's a blue snowflake and a green little stars. And I really like this one. This is colored snowflakes with music. Huh?
That's really cute.
Yeah. And then this is a red snowflake and green ribbon for the hanger. So I'm going to be making some ornaments from this fabric. Stay tuned. So mine will be 2 or 3 Santas like this that you put over paper cones, and then I'm going to give away 2 ornaments made from
or
this
if you
fabric.
have a glass tree,
Or if you have a glass tree that you buy at Target, it also works. But I'm going to make 2 hanging fabric ornaments also. So that will be my little gift. And do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So for my gift,
Oh wait, before you say.
Oh.
So the keyword to enter the giveaway for mine, the 2 Santas and the ornaments, is Santa. So.
And you can start entering now, but we're not going to do the thing until the week before Christmas.
Right.
The giveaway.
So the last, yeah. So, so the entry is a sentence in a comment that includes the word Santa, and we will know that that's what you would like. You can put all 3 keywords in, but they're going to explain their keywords as we go. So my keyword is Santa for the 2 to 3 Santas and the ornaments. I'll make all 3. Okay, we'll just promise. I'll make all 3. You have to stay up all night. I'll make all 3. There, I did it. I committed.
Okay, so then mine is this beautiful pattern
so beautiful.
by Cottage Garden Samplings.
We'll put a picture here.
Yes. This is called Christmas Delivery. It's Santa pulling the sleigh. There's no reindeer involved. He's just pulling the sleigh.
It's reindeer.
There's Thestrals there pulling it.
It's like Tevye and Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
Maybe it's reindeer whittling. That's so pretty.
The sleigh is full of toys and gifts and things like that. And there's snowflakes and everything. So it's beautiful Cottage Garden Samplings design. And it's all DMC threads are called for. So here's all the threads.
Nice.
And a little cable ring thing.
Holder.
Nice. Yeah. So I didn't bobbinate them or anything like that. So because some people prefer them on drops or whatever. And then there's a pair of scissors because I'm a scissor fanatic and I just buy scissors all the time.
So for yours, which keyword is
delivery,
because this is Christmas delivery. And you get the pattern, the threads, and the scissors. Mm-hmm. So that's Beth's prize.
And I have not finished mine.
Well, you have time.
Mine is 2 bags. This is just the beginnings of one.
It is so cute. I love that green fabric.
It has a vinyl front, and so will the other one. And it'll have a handle. So
show the back.
Yeah,
it's quilted.
Yeah, it is quilted.
It's so nice.
So if you're interested, it'll be 2 bags. If you're interested in that, you say bag
or bags.
Doesn't matter.
Bag or bags. Mm-hmm. So and it'll be 2 project bags from Eve, and so bag or bags for Eve's entry, delivery for Beth's, and Santa for mine. And we'll take entries from now until the week before Christmas, which I should actually get a date here.
But you only have to enter once.
You only have to enter once. So, but you have time to think about it. Let me see what the date is. Excuse me. The last date to enter will be Sunday. Well, the week of,
because we're gonna do the pull.
Before.
We're gonna do the pull on Christmas Day, right?
No, not on Christmas Day. We're gonna record before. Well,
Christmas Day. I mean, they'll see the
they'll
announcement.
watch it, but they need to ask for it the Thursday before Christmas.
Yeah. So the video prior will drop on the 18th of December. So that week you will need to enter, and probably the last day would be the 22nd of December.
We should do Wednesday because we film on Thursday.
Right. So Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday,
Sorry,
21st.
We
should have worked this all out.
We can cut all this out if it's too complicated.
Okay. So the final video will drop on the 18th, and you have until the 21st to get your comments in. So from now all the way through December, you can enter. And so please also share with your friends, unless you're like, I don't want to share with my friends because then they might win. But you should be nice.
And we would appreciate it if you would be a subscriber.
Yes, please.
And you must be over 18 so you can legally give us your address.
So,
and do we want to say?
And subscribe and turn on your notifications because then you'll know when we.
Are we shipping internationally or U.S. or
Wherever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let us know.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah, anywhere in the world. We will get it to you. So we have 3 prizes. So enter. If you put all 3 keywords into one sentence, we will enter you for all 3.
But
you can only win one. Yeah. You can't win all 3. So because we want to share. So stories. I don't think I have any stories.
I have a story about
you have lots of
potato soup.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving fail stories. That's it. That's a good category.
Yeah, I have past few years made potatoes in the crock pot. Mashed potatoes in the crock pot for Thanksgiving. Two crock pots full of mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving. And for some reason, this time, I got too much liquid in there. And so I ended up straining one crock pot's worth into the other one to try to make it enough, but it was potato soup. And I finally got it.
Which has its place. But
it has its place, but that's not what we wanted. I told him, we might need bowls. It tasted good, but it was not like your traditional mashed potatoes. And I got it where it was thicker. Where it was thicker. And like I said, they tasted fine.
Yeah.
But I was like, what did I do? And I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't, I've been struggling with not feeling well and not being able to breathe and stuff. And maybe it was just because that makes me really tired. And so maybe that was it. I don't know. I'm making excuses for myself. I just did it wrong. But at least they weren't SpongeBob potatoes.
They weren't SpongeBob. So 1 year, that was New Year's.
Yeah.
We used to, because we used to go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving, so I wouldn't make a turkey.
And Christmas.
And so I decided early on in my marriage that I was like, I want to do a dinner on New Year's Day, because I wanted to make a turkey. And so this is why I have been cursed now with making the turkey every year for everybody all the time for Thanksgiving. Because I learned how to make turkeys, and I'm actually pretty darn good at it. Let's just say that. So, which is fine. But so I would make a big, like a Thanksgiving type meal on New Year's Day. I have since quit that because I'm tired. So anyway,
well, and I used to come out from Little Rock. I would come out for Christmas to my parents' house and spend Christmas with them, and then come down to Phoenix for
over.
Yeah,
come over to Phoenix
for New Year's.
So we would do a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 1 year. But I was such a great cook that I'm like, I'm going to make potatoes from scratch. So 1 year we just decided to do boxed mashed potatoes, which has its place. Mm-hmm. But I was relying on this one to give me the recipe off the box. And you know how it's like 1 serving, 4 servings, 6 servings, 8 or whatever. So we had our servings amount of potatoes and water and butter or whatever. But she read the salt amount from a much higher serving column. So I made it. And they were so salty. We were like, these taste like they're from the ocean. So we called them SpongeBob potatoes. So that was the famous year of the SpongeBob potato. We kept adding flakes, remember? We kept adding and adding and adding. to never really solved the problem. So once there's too much salt in potatoes.
You should have just started over.
Yeah, but, you know.
Yeah.
I think that was also the year I broke my beautiful giant Pyrex bowl.
It could have been.
Yeah. So that was... But your potatoes weren't that bad. They were good. You added flakes also, right?
I did.
Yeah.
To thicken it, because otherwise we would have needed a spoon. It was bad.
But... yeah.
I made a cheesecake, which I have to say was really good. So.
Did I even have some?
No.
I can't remember if I had any.
Nobody had any but me.
Oh, no.
That's because there was a lot
I
of
thought
pumpkin.
Rachel had some.
There was a lot of pumpkin pie.
She might have had.
was.
She might have had a little bit.
I meant to.
I know I had it for breakfast.
Maybe I'll have some before I leave.
I had it for breakfast.
Yeah, I
some
had
for
pie this
breakfast
morning for
today.
breakfast. It was good.
And I've been
pies
having
came out good.
pumpkin cake in the evenings.
I've been wanting to make pumpkin pie for days. But
I didn't have any pumpkin pie.
But there was no room in the refrigerator.
I was too full, and I was gonna, because I'd served myself the cheesecake and one of Rachel's brownies and one of her pie crust cookies.
Yeah,
and I was
so
thinking,
good. You gotta take those.
Yeah, and so I was thinking, well, I'll come back and try pumpkin pie slice later. But I was really kind of full, so yeah. But
we had pumpkin cake. Two pumpkin pies, her cheesecake, Rachel's yummy Thin Mint brownies, and her pie crust cookies, which are so yummy.
I was envisioning myself being on one of those funniest home videos when I was taking the pumpkin cake out to the car because it's very heavy, and I had taken the cheesecake out first and put it on the back seat on my side, and so I was going to put the pumpkin cake on the back seat on Eve's side, and so I had to kind of squeeze around the van and walk on the little gravel area, and so I was just like trying to hold this heavy.
I said that once to Hannah. I had a cake or something I was taking to the dining room, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be on a YouTube video," and she was like, "No one's filming you, Mom." I'm like, "I know." It's called a joke because, how is it they always capture some disaster?
Yeah.
Are you literally filming every single day of your whole lives?
My favorite one was I think somebody's birthday or something, and so they were filming this woman. I guess she was going to the door, and so they were filming it, and then somebody came over and opened the door and walked in and pushed the cake up to her floor, and that's what I always think of when I'm.
Well, it's so funny. Like Hannah and I talk about this a lot. Like how you're doing something and you can envision the disaster that's about to happen. Like I was putting away my china this morning and I stupidly balanced a plate on top of some other thing, and I'm like, I could just it's gonna fall. I'm gonna bump it with my elbow, and it's gonna fall. Like I could just see the whole scene happening.
Well, that's what we had the pumpkin cake, leftover in the refrigerator, and I went to take it out, and I guess I went to grab it with one hand, but the empty side was on this side by my hand, and so it was very full there, plus the weight of the Pyrex, so it almost went whoop on the floor. Like ah.
Well, do you remember if you look back in our videos from last year? I think it was. I dropped those Thin Mint cookies that I make all over the fridge. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So I make these cookies with Ritz. I shouldn't tell my secret recipe. It's a Ritz cracker with melting chocolate, which has peppermint extract in it. So the salty of the Ritz cracker.
They taste like a
I'm sorry,
Girl Scout cookie.
They are better than Girl Scout Thin Mints because the saltiness of the Ritz and the sweet and mint of the chocolate is just chef's kiss. So, but what you do is you dip them and put them on wax paper, and then you transfer them into the fridge so they can harden. And so I think they do air harden a bit before you get them there, but not completely. And I was even telling Mark this Thanksgiving. I'm like, I really want one of those French door fridges that where both doors open and you have the whole. We have the side by side, so it's like. So I was doing that, and I bumped the tray, and I was putting in the pumpkin pies into the oven, and I remember that year that you know, because it's basically completely liquidy. And I one year, I don't know what, I just had like a stupid, and there goes the you know, it's sloshed like that all over the door into the oven, between the door and the oven. That was my old oven.
I put them on a baking tray now. I carry them to the oven on a baking tray and just put them in there on the baking tray, because inevitably they will leak. They will drip. They will,
boil,
you know.
or
So
whatever.
you have the shorter pans, because I finally got rid. I used to have the thin, the like an inch and a half, 2 inch, like little pie plates. I had glass ones, and I gave them to Goodwill, and I got some of those big Pyrex ones. So if I put them both on a tray, I wouldn't be able to lift it. But they're nice and deep, so the 2 pumpkin pie recipe will actually sit in there. And it was very nice this year. I bought them last year because I had that problem, because they barely fit in those little, you know, those little.
It doesn't.
I think they're also Pyrex, but they're little.
Yeah.
And they have a flat edge, and these are bigger, and they kind of have a.
Somewhere in my kitchen stuff that never made it from my apartment, I have a glass. Not a glass, but it's like. It's not china, but pie dish.
Pyrex or whatever.
No,
No, they're
and
Corning.
ceramic.
Like a Corningware?
it's ceramic, of some kind, and it's about that deep.
Yeah.
And I loved it for doing stuff like that, but I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah. But so I bought those pie dishes last year because I had a whole bunch. I don't know if you remember. I had one that I got. I always sound like my mom when I think of that. But I got when I got married. I had one that is a pie plate, but it has fluted edges, but it's straight like this. So you kind of stuff the crust around the edge like this, but it doesn't go over. Mm-hmm. And so I have that. And then I had a whole bunch of those little, like you buy them like in a 3-pack of Pyrex pie dishes, and they're little, and they have a flat brim to them. What do you call that? I don't know. But the flat edge, but they're shallow. And that's what I would make one in the big one and one in the little one, and that little one would always, like you say, spill over, leak out, whatever. And so, yeah, I went, and I don't know where I found them, if it was at Fry's or Bed Bath & Beyond or something, but they're Pyrex, but they're deep, and they have a nice wide edge to them. And I'm like, these are great. So I bought a whole bunch, and I got rid of those other ones. So I'm like, I'm tired of spilling pumpkin or whatever.
So now, to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't have a Christmas
Can we get
morning.
the thing out of Beth's face? She's trying to talk.
I didn't have a Christmas morning.
I'll put it in my face.
I promise you that when you get that Santa, it will not have stuck in my nose. It's an optical illusion. So I'm wearing this claws.
Do you mean Christmas morning? Do you mean Thanksgiving morning?
Thanksgiving? No, well, no. Well,
Okay.
I don't know.
Speaking of optical illusions, I notice almost every week on the video
Uh-huh.
that it looks like my hair is sticking out because there's a lamp right here. And when I turn, I end up having this little...
It's like that one picture of it's from when, I don't know, it's from when you and Mark first got married or something. And there's a picture of Mark, and he has a tree in the back of his head.
Oh, I don't remember. That was funny.
Anyway, I'm wearing this t-shirt that says Claus is coming to town. Because I thought about, like putting it off until closer to Christmas or whatever. But I'm wearing this because it's very appropriate. Because I had 2 catastrophe things going on. The first one was in the middle of the night, Wednesday night, before Thanksgiving morning, when I had been stitching. I was working on this, as a matter of fact. And I dozed off, as I often do, because I stitch in bed. So I was lying there stitching, and I had fallen asleep, and I woke up.
How do you not poke yourself?
I end up dropping the needle. I lose the needle in my bed. Anyway, so I woke up, and my hand was full of cat barf. I had cat barf in my hand. spilling over on my watch, all over my hand like this.
That was the way the cat said, "Happy Thanksgiving."
Yes. Here's the Thanksgiving gift for you. Bleh. And
That
fortunately,
is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard.
it was so weird. I'm like, what the heck happened? And so my blanket was
How do
kind
you
of.
sleep through it?
I don't know. I think that's what woke me up. because it had just happened apparently. And so,
gross.
my blanket had a little puddle of it there. So I fortunately I had like a bunch of napkins right there in the corner of my bed. So I like grabbed a bunch of napkins and cleaned up the blanket and grabbed what was in my hand and then I thought, oh my God, my stitching.
Barfy hand.
And yes, so I'm like trying not to touch anything with my hand, but my TV remote was there too, and so it got splattered. And so, but then I thought, oh my God, my stitching. And fortunately, my stitching just had like a few little spots. I had a couple of them here amongst the trees, and a couple of them down here on the edge. But fortunately, nothing major. So I had my hand like this, and I was like I think I popped the stitching out of the hoop, and I went to the bathroom, and I had to go to the bathroom anyway. So I'm like, and but in my bathroom I have a little bottle of Dawn dish soap because I use it to spot as a spot cleaner when I do laundry, because it's really good for like greasy spots.
stains,
yeah. So and I have used that when I wash my stitching, which I don't do very often. But fortunately, this is on white Aida fabric, and uses DMC threads, so everything is color fast. But so I put a little drop of the Dawn dishwasher liquid on those little stains, and I just washed the whole stitching, and fortunately it all came out. But I also discovered, I remembered there's a stain down here from I don't know what, a long time ago, because I thought, oh no, is that something else? And I
last time
scrubbed
the
at
cat
it.
barfed in your hand?
But so yeah, this one already had a stain, but fortunately it's right at the very bottom, so I don't think it's involved in the picture. But yeah, so that was my Thanksgiving morning.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna say that's a true sign of motherhood.
Yes.
Because one day Eli started to throw up, and I went like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, anybody who's ever been a mother, and I used to babysit kids. I had a set of triplets that I took care of for a couple of years, and you deal with.
You just have to get used to
with
it.
barf, with poopy diapers, with all kinds of stuff like that. So that was my.
I have already been teaching Robert that you can do anything with gloves on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so that was my Thanksgiving morning, was the cat barf in my hand. And I like the Mutt's cartoon with Mooch and Earl, a dog and cat, and they've been running the cartoons every day the theme has been Thanksgiving, right? So the little dog is wagging his tail at his owner saying thank you, and the cat is thanking his cat mom for the dinner that she gives him, and so I thought about that. Thanksgiving. Thanks. Puck says thank you, Mom. And I know it was Puck because And then the other thing happened last night. So in the wee hours of the morning, I was looking for rounding up all my DMC threads, and I thought, well, I know a lot of them are in my WIP-GO projects, and so I was going to pull out my WIP-GO bin, and it's in the closet because the closet I consider it a cat-free area. So I had put all this bin with all my WIP-GO things in the closet. So I had gotten up and I turned on the closet light, and and I went to bring this bin out to my bed, and I came out and Snug is there Now, Snug has got some kind of an allergy problem, something, I don't know what, but he's always scratching and licking and everything else. And I've been telling myself for the past few weeks that I need to make an appointment for him to go to the vet to
go back to
the vet.
You have checked him out.
Yeah, he's been to the vet like twice already.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I was telling myself, yeah, I need to go back. And I just had put it off. And so I turned around and he is bathing himself with blood. And I'm going to put a picture here of him. And he looks horrible.
Content warning. It's not gory.
Yes. It's not gory. It looks like he's like been pink. Basically, pink all over. As one of the stories that we told at Thanksgiving was when Naomi was little, my mom had been we were camping and my mom had been washing dishes. And she was sitting in her little bouncy seat, and my mom had been putting, as she dried the silverware, she'd been putting it on this little dinette table. And unbeknownst to her, Naomi had reached up there to the dining table and got a knife, and had poked herself somehow, and was finger painting in her bouncy tray with blood. And that's what I thought of immediately with Snug, because he was there licking, and he looked like something out of the Cat in the Hat book. He was just, And fortunately, I was able to get. I got a washcloth with. I had to stand there for a long time for it to get warm, waiting for the water to get warm. And but with the washcloth, I was able to just wipe his fur off, because I couldn't tell. I think he just pulled a scab, scratched a scab off or bit it off or whatever, and it bled, and that's what. And then he was spreading it all over his fur. So I was able to wipe him down, and I couldn't see like an active wound bleeding or whatever, but he's fine now, but it was very scary as I turned around and he was just like,
covered in blood.
Yes, covered in blood. He looked horrible. But anyway, so that was my other catastrophe story. So yeah.
Hobbs always, when he was a baby, he was very allergic, and I would pick him up and he would just have sores all over his back, wherever he could reach. Both cats have different problems, spent months in cones because we were trying to solve his problem, and we put him in a cone because he would just destroy himself like that. And then, of course, Calvin had a horrible sore in his tail, and so we had to keep him in a cone. But we had to keep him in a bigger, like a one size too large that would sit way back on his shoulders and be a lot longer, because he could still reach his tail even with that cone on. So it was awful, and his skin got so bad because he wasn't grooming that he got very, he didn't have a skin allergy, but I think it was just the lack of being able to groom himself for so long. His skin got flaky, and we tried to let him out of his cone before we solved that problem for him, and he was so itchy, he did this, and he bit his arm and made his little arm bleed. So then the doctor's like, you have to give him a bath. And so we got this. It only took once. It was very interesting. We got this this shampoo, and we did this elaborate thing, because I'm like, if I turn the water on in the bathtub, he's gonna freak out. And I can't, so I need clean water to rinse him. So what am I going to do? So I still have them. I bought 2 big plastic bins, like Rubbermaid, and I put them in the bathtub. So with no cat in sight, I filled them both. So one was for washing, and then I'm like, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to put him in the rinse water to rinse him. That way I don't have to run any water. And so we brought him in after the water was filled. We were very calm, very quiet. And he was afraid of his cone if it wasn't on him, because he would get it off. But we had it tied with that rubber tubing, to keep it on him. And so he would kick it off, but the tubing would still be tied. And so when he would try to move, it would on the tile, and then he'd go tearing through the house. Like, we would have to just plop ourselves in his path and grab him and take the cone off. So if he saw the cone not on his body, he would freak out. So he was so traumatized. Poor baby. So I took the cone off and we put it behind you so he wouldn't see it. And then I just lowered him into the warm water, and he just... Well, I could not believe this traumatized cat that was so afraid of everything, just sat there. So we soaked him up.
And I was
able to just pick him up and put him in the rinse water.
When I was living in Florida, I visited Beth and got the fleas from hell that came to my apartment. And the cat got to the point where she wouldn't walk on the carpet. She would climb over anything to not be on the carpet. And I knew that the fleas were an issue, and I was trying to decide what to do. But she had them all over. And they were big, nasty, hard to get rid of fleas. And I had to flea bomb the apartment.
Yeah.
So I took her to Jan's house, and while the stuff was working, because neither one of us could be there, I took her and bathed her at the house, at Jan's house, and she just was like, yes, because I was just getting the fleas off and putting them in the running water so that it would go down, Yeah. And she's just like, oh yeah, right here. Here, right here. It's just there. And she was so grateful to be rid of them.
When, in my first apartment, I did have a flea problem because, when I very first moved in there, my friend Grace, she and I moved to Little Rock at the same time, joined the symphony at the same time. And her apartment, she had a flea problem because the people who had lived there before had dogs and had, left behind, I guess, a bunch of fleas. And so she was planning on flea bombing her apartment. And so she asked if she could stay with me. And she had supposedly, she had a sleeping bag and she had, tried not to bring any fleas with her. But of course, you can't
they don't ask
escape
permission,
them.
they
Yeah.
just go.
So then after she left, I had, a few fleas in my apartment, apparently. And then
they were bad outside.
Yeah, so she had cats, and then she got cats shortly after she moved there. And I got my cats, Hotspur and Cyrano, shortly after that. And then, the people next door, there was a little house next door, and they had dogs, and the dogs had a bunch of fleas. They could, because the dogs lived outside, basically. And so the yard, I didn't realize it, but the yard had a lot of fleas. And so, when I went to get the mail or whatever, they would, the fleas would jump on my feet or my shoes, and I would bring them in the house. And so we developed a flea problem in the house. So, one thing I know is that
itchy.
is that if you have a bowl of water or something with soap in it, you can dump the fleas in there and they'll die instantly, right? So I used to sit on the floor with I would spread newspaper out and flea comb the cats and just dump the fleas into the soapy water. And I would use a little I had a little clip light, and because the fleas are drawn to the heat of the lamp, so they would so I was like, it was this big elaborate thing. But I also used to bathe the cats in the kitchen sink. I had, so they would grab the metal edge of the sink with their claws.
What I remember is when Mona and I and Jan went to see you, and we tried to barbecue on that little barbecue thing out in your yard, and immediately we started getting bit by fleas, and Mona could see them all over her socks. She had white socks, and she could see them all over her socks. And we were huddling inside. You came from work, and we're like, we don't want to go out there. It was, and we tried, to not take them back to our homes, but of course we did. And then after I'd been at Jan's house with my cat, she ended up having to flea bomb her house too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It was.
They were awful.
And-
Awful.
And I used to use that fleece stuff that you put between, the little medicine that you put between the shoulder blades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I moved to my second apartment, I was concerned about that issue also, but I never had a flea problem there because I had an indoor entrance for one thing, as opposed to an outdoor door at my other apartment, and then I didn't have a flea problem there. I never saw a flea.
Well, certain climates
there, yeah.
also
Like here, it's not too.
here it's not too bad, but when I was living in Belgium, we had our first cat. We ended up having others, but our first cat that we had was really sick, and so we took it to the vet, and he said, "This is fleas," and he showed me. It was the first time I'd encountered that kind of flea issue, and he said, the fleas are killing him.
Aww.
Him, I don't remember. And so he said, "The cat's really sick. I want you to leave it here." And he said, "And you have to go and figure out where those fleas are." Now it was little. It was a little cat.
Yeah, because they can make them anemic when they're very young.
Yeah. And so I pulled the litter box away from the wall, and all over right there, there was just like thick fleas. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, right? And and then when we went to go get the cat, he's like, you can just give me this cat. My family loves the cat. I was like, no. Because it was a really sweet cat. But I don't remember that cat's name. I don't remember any of their names.
Oh, wow.
I'm very old, and it was a long time ago. But I don't remember.
Wow.
I don't remember their names. I remember the French word for cat, but I don't think we called him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
In French,
but
chat chapeau.
yeah. So, but I hadn't even noticed him on the cat. We hadn't had him that long, so I don't know if he came with them and then they were there. I don't even remember how we got the cat.
Yeah, I know that with, of course, cat fleas suck the blood of your cat, and so when a kitten is little, the flea problem, the fleas attacking their their
bad.
blood can be very dangerous for kittens, and with adult cats, of course, it's a little easier to spot and a little easier to treat too, because with kittens you have to be very careful with the flea treatments and and stuff like that. But yeah, so fortunately, that was one thing that I thought of immediately with Snug, but it hasn't been, I haven't seen any fleas on them or anything like
Our
that.
vet hasn't said the dog's issue is bugs either.
Yeah,
so, and I think it's strange that both Rogue and Snug, from the time that we were living at the Baylor Street, have had itching issues.
Snug didn't start until here because I have pictures. Yeah, because I have pictures of him from when we first moved in, even up to until 2020, and his fur was fine. He had no.
Rogue started at the Baylor Street house, and part of me wants to say that maybe it's the pest control.
Yeah.
And I talked to the Terminex guy, and he said, no, it shouldn't. None of our stuff that we use should bother your.
They always say that.
Your animals. But then I was thinking, we also have the termite bait and all that. So who knows?
Yeah.
The vet hasn't indicated anything like that, but
Yeah.
I have to give her allergy pills twice a day. And she's still scratching. Yeah, but she's still taking prednisone, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we've been talking a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work
And
again.
Mm.
I worked Black Friday from 9 a.m. till 9 at night. But apparently it's a good show. We're going on Sunday, so I'm excited about that. But it's Disney in concert. And it was, what the little clip I saw online and from what I've heard, it's beautiful. It's no one's singing and it's no songs. It's all symphonic music, but they show clips from the movie, I guess, and then the music behind it. So
For which movie is it?
it's Disney
different
in
one,
concert.
different one.
It's all
This is
Disney.
Disney
yeah.
in concert.
So like the overture is real
Yeah.
nice. It was like kind of old school Disney overture, and then I guess they do like I heard one I can remember is the Mulan one, and I saw Little Mermaid one, and they do the Beauty and the Beast. So it's like a symphonic medley of all the tunes,
I see.
and then they're just showing scenes from
Yeah.
the movie on the
I
screen,
see.
and the audience was flipping out. We were happy. We had a pretty full house, which was nice.
Look,
And
that color's a lot better, huh?
nice. That is better.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big difference.
A huge difference. And I don't think it's because I'm used to seeing them with lighter skin.
Yeah.
Because I
shows
am,
up, yeah.
but
Yeah,
I wanted to try the darker skin color, but I would
looks a
actually
lot
like
better.
to see the face.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know who was asking me if we're gonna get a tree or when we're gonna get a tree, and I'm like, I have no weekends. I mean, obviously, like a Saturday morning, I'm doing this, but I have no weekends until like mid-December, I guess.
That's what I used to when I lived in Little Rock, because I would come to Albuquerque for Christmas. I had like a very narrow window of time. And so I would usually try for the Saturday right after Thanksgiving to get my tree up, because otherwise, once that weekend passed, then all the symphony stuff, we had Messiah,
Well,
we had
funny
runouts,
because-
and we had all kinds of stuff. And so it was like, if I don't get the tree up now, it's not even worth it to have it up, because we would be up like 1 week, and then I would have to leave town or whatever.
Right.
So
well, it's funny because like my manager and my assistant manager are alternating weekends.
Uh-huh.
So in terms of like running the show, right, running the box office, but I'm not alternating weekends. I work every single Friday from last week all the way until of November, basically, or like since Hocus Pocus.
So,
And I'm like,
but then come after Christmas, you have a lot less hours.
No, because like March is the same way. March has a concert every single weekend. Now I'm not complaining, because like those operations people and the orchestra itself. I mean, after holiday pops, oh great, we have a week break, but they split into two, and half of them do Nutcracker. Which Nutcracker, it's not our performance; it's through the ballet, and they're doing like every day.
The Nutcracker,
and they even have a
but
Christmas.
the ballet is
they even
beautiful.
have like a Christmas Eve or 2 Christmas Eves things. That's one thing I've never. I've always gone to Mark's Nutcracker, which has been fun. He's not doing it this year, but I've never been to the Phoenix Symphony or the ballet.
The ballet.
Have you ever been to
Friends
that
of ours
performance?
from church gave Robert and I tickets to go.
Oh, to Ballet Arizona's production? Oh,
And
nice.
Robert was asking me, and he was, I think he was in junior high. And as we were there, I mean, he was happy to go, As we were there, he's like, so tell me what we're seeing? Because he thought he was going to go, to a play or I don't know what he thought. And I said, it's music. There's no words. They're acting to the music. And he goes, there's no words? And I said, no, but you'll know what's going on. Trust me, you'll know.
Yeah.
And he was on the edge of his seat the whole time. He loved it. And then somebody asked him, where did you go? He said, I went to the ballet. And his friend goes, I'm sorry. He goes, no, it was good.
Well, I remember the first time the kids saw Mark's production, which is a ballet school. So it's younger dancers. But the kids were like, I understood what was happening. Even without, like you said, without words or whatever. Like, yeah.
Well, when we were very young, Mom used to participate in something, some kind of cultural educational stuff with the school or with something. And so she took us all the time. So we saw... I was at Popejoy not every week, but like every month or something. A lot.
We would go. Yeah, she would round up kids from her school, all the kids who had permission to go from their parents or whatever. So we had, and this was the days before car seats and seatbelt laws and everything. So she had we had a station wagon, and it was like chock full of kids, and she would take us to Popejoy to hear the children's concerts and stuff like that. But I was going to say that it reminds me of what you're talking about. It reminds me of there's a Facebook meme or something of this person saying, "Oh, thank God it's Friday," and then I'm a musician.
Or the one where it's a scene from I guess it's that movie about C.S. Lewis when his wife dies. That little boy. And they're sitting on a park bench, and this man says, "Is your family ready for Christmas?" And then they show a little boy with crying eyes, and he goes, "My parents are musicians."
That's how like we would December was like, because I would do Messiah, and Susan would do Nutcracker because we had a reduced orchestra, so there was only one bassoon. So she would do Nutcracker, because especially when her daughters were young, because one of her daughters was in the ballet school and then we had a Christmas concert in North Little Rock at this that we would do, and then our Christmas concerts we would do like 3 performances, and then various churches would hire symphony musicians to do whatever they were doing for Christmas, and it was just like chock-a-block from the end of November.
I saw a funny thing. It was a photograph of George Frederick Handel, who wrote Messiah, and it said something like, "Oh, so you guys are sick? Well, you're welcome. You're sick of this music," or something. And he's like, "You're welcome for January's rent."
For real.
Because the musicians make some money during Christmas time, so I'm not complaining too much. I know I could be busier, but
there are times that I go to businesses like convenience stores or places like that where they're making people work on holidays. Making them. It's their job. They want them to. And I'm like, thank you for working on this holiday so that I can do this. Like the people at the movies.
At the movie theater,
Well, and like on Thanksgiving Day, when we were going over to Naomi's house for our Thanksgiving meal, the way we were like dying of thirst, and so we stopped at the Circle K down the street and got something to drink. And there's of course this poor girl working there at the counter,
And Beth said, "I think she's there by herself," and I'm like, "I don't think so. I think they're not allowed to be by themselves." I know in Florida they passed a law that convenience store workers can't work by themselves.
I saw an announcement on my Citizen app, which can report weird stuff, or whenever anybody calls the cops, it has a little report on the app, and it said that Circle K, like it's Ray and Rural or something, that somebody was hitting someone else with a tray at Circle K, and I was like what? So,
but
you didn't get hit with a tray.
We don't think about the fact that it's convenient to us to be able to stop here or there, But
Yeah,
some
but
poor
doctors
schmo
and
has to.
nurses never-
Some
But
poor schmo has to work. You know.
I try to remember to thank them for working because,
Yeah.
you know, on Christmas, there could be people that don't celebrate Christmas. Not their
But
religion.
Thanksgiving, everybody does.
But
yeah.
here in the U.S., Thanksgiving, well, you know, on Christmas, you don't know, everybody else is getting off and they probably feel sad.
But I always think too, doctors, nurses, firefighters, that you know, police, they don't get the days off. So
Yeah.
it's so
Somebody
I'm
has
not
to
going
be-
to complain too much, but I do have to go to work tonight. So
Yeah,
so
but we better go.
We better
Yeah.
go. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget
The giveaway.
The giveaway.
The items for the giveaway.
3 things: Santa, delivery, or bags. So we just thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.